Hello, people. Welcome to Becoming Mr. Macaulay, a podcast for newlyweds. We keep it honest, we share our journey with you guys, and we don't know everything, but we'll tell you what's working for us. Today, we'll be talking about sex, making love and all it entails, you know. Anyway, what's been your sexual experience to go married?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a growing process for me. Yeah. It's something every day gets better. Firstly, getting to know ourselves, understanding our bodies and how it functions. You know, what you like, what I like, what we like, and all that. So for me, it's getting better. Getting better by day. Getting better. Yeah. What's that?
You have to.
Hype yourself. I understand.
Yes.
It's a communal work now.
Yes, I know. You know. So, what are the few things you've learned about sex?
Well, in marriage, what I've learned about sex is that sex is not, when it comes to marriage, is not for you. Like your partner comes first. Your partner comes first.
Sometimes it can be for you.
Sometimes it can be for you, but basically, it's about the other person. It should be a selfless act. It should be trying to please the other person. It should be trying to please your partner to make them satisfied and all that. I think even that brings some sort of satisfaction to you when it's to please your partner. Another thing, in sex, in marriage, they did not tell us so that whether you like it, whether you want to have sex or not, you have sex. As long as your partner wants it, you have to prepare your mind to have sex.
You don't feel like having sex all the time.
You don't feel like it,
but you're going to get to have sex. While you're single, you don't feel like having sex all the time, but sometimes you have the illusion, because when your hormones raging and you get honey, you feel like, I want to have sex, and you feel like, that's single. So if you do it, hopefully you don't. But we will get to do it, then you're fine for a while. Then maybe another 2 weeks or 1 week or 1 month or whatever the case may be, in marriage, you don't really get to decide whether you're going to wait for 2 weeks later or 1 month later.
Yeah.
It can be 1 hour later, it can be 30 minutes later, it can be a spring for 5 days. And one of the things that caught across to me was the fact that as a guy, I got honey a lot before I got married, but we decided to abstain from sex before getting married. Then in marriage, I just felt like all this honey energy, I got the point. But the thing is, maybe in a day, if you do a couple of times, you are good for like a week. You are supposedly good for like a week, and the next day your wife still wants to have sex. So whether you don't feel like, or you feel like, you have to put your mind into it. I think one of the great things about sex, I love to talk about sex, so we'll just do a few on this episode and continue on another episode, right? So one of the few things about sex is going to be communication.
Important.
I think you need to be talking. You need to ask her what she likes. Is this okay? Is this not okay? Should I do this? Should I not? This is communication while you are doing it. So I know that all those things in movies they do. I know. But I think in real life, before I start doing, you have to know that this person really likes this thing. So there has to be communication. I think that's what for us, I don't know how other couples get to the work, but for us, we have to communicate if we want to do something new ahead of time.
Yeah. Like we talk a whole lot.
If you want to get extra kinky, talk about it. I feel like today, let's just go nude all over the house. You can't just show up nude and just expect me to read your mind. I'm not your mind reader. You can't just show up with handcuffs. Just expect her to lie down. I mean, did you join police? Is she a thief? it needs to be said. I was telling my wife that I like that when you watch movies or when you watch people who have sex before marriage or just wanting to have sexual things, they chat about the things they like about sex on the phone with each other. I like this one. Will you do this one to me when you come? Will you do that one to me when you come? I'm wondering why can't married couples just say, when you're coming back home today, tiny.
Like you have license.
When you're coming back home today, do this one. I like this one. You know, and the thing about communication is, like she said, is growing. It's growing. So experiences change. The parts of the body to explore change. Sometimes some people don't even know that this part of their body can be this sensitive. So while you have to educate yourself about sex, you have to be willing to explore your partner's body. That's the reason why, yeah, I know sometimes, for instance, quickie is not for women. you know that one just do quickly in the morning before you go to work or church.
It's weird.
It's not for the women. It's really for. I don't think women can get satisfied in that instance. Yeah, the impulses, it might stimulate them, but you might have to go extra rounds later. But the man, I mean, on the spot, you are good. So yeah, sometimes it's just for one person. Then sometimes so the man does it for the wife exclusively. It's good. It doesn't. So, but most times when you engage in sex, it has to be for the other person. One of the things I've had to deal with is the fact that you have to always put your mind there. Like we won't engage in intercourse if my wife is not fully committed or I'm not fully committed. And we don't also use sex to settle quarrel. I know you used to see those things in the movie, but I think they are weird. We talk, we settle the quarrel. We don't use the sex to settle the quarrel because the sex is supposed to be an expression of what we're already having as intimate people. So we don't use the sex as we're quarreling. Just touch me. No. Sex is not a bribe. Our bodies are not our own. Well, that's one of the things we say to each other. You have my body, I have your body. But when you are annoying me in my body, we'll talk about it. We'll settle.
Before we.
Then we'll, usually you settle and you down. So about communication.
Yeah.
It's very important. Like but then there's this other mind thing. I don't know about my wife. I don't even think we've talked about it before here now. But you have to, for men or for me, while making out, you're always visualizing. You're always either seeing, you have to be seeing the person you're having sex with mentally, even if you're closing your eyes mentally. So, and you have to make sure that it's your wife you're always seeing. Because if you are seeing somebody else, you're already cheating. If your mind is stimulated with any other conversation, any other image, you're already cheating. So that comes to the point where you need to actually always consciously bring your mind back to the fact that this is the person you married. This is the person you're in love with. This is the body that pleases you. And hopefully you married a woman that has a body that pleases you. That conversation. In this podcast is for newlyweds, not for you go to a single podcast and solve that issue. But you married this body that pleased you. So it's important to have. But even when you do all of these things, they see the temptation of, you see a movie, there's one naked person or half naked person or something. You have to always consciously, mentally take that off of your mind. Then another thing is, you will not always feel like having sex. You will not always feel like having sex. I don't know how she used to do it, but she used to respond. How do you used to do it?
It's a commitment thing, right? It's a commitment thing. Yeah. You might not feel like it, but trust me, like if you're there, it gives room for you just get into it. Like you just start feeling it. If you're there, that's what he said. Something about being there. You have to be present. Your mind has to be there. Once your mind is there and your partner wants it, for us women, a little touch here and there, and voila. Open the floodgates.
Yeah.
So that's how it works for me. It's a commitment thing. Yeah. Once my mind is there, I'm good to go. I'm good to go, really. Yeah.
Yeah. So for guys, I think it's also the challenge, because we don't need a lot to ejaculate. We don't. You can just 2 minutes, you are done. Sometimes for 5 seconds, if you want, you are done. But the woman body is not like that. So that's where you need to be mentally and emotionally available. Especially when you just had sex maybe 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day before and you want to have sex the next morning. Or maybe she's ovulating and for the next 4 days, you would really want to have a lot of sex. Or not, maybe whatever it is for your wife, right? But you just did a lot the other day, and now you can't just. I just made the part to myself that every time I'm going to do this, I'm going to be emotionally, mentally available. But the truth is, some days I'm tired.
That's where communication.
So I tell her that there's a way we're always going to have sex, but I can't do it today. I can't start from kissing the forehead, kissing lips, doing small. The man body works a certain way, romance here, foreplay there, all of that there. Before you do the intercourse, before she gets to her own climax. Some days, I can't. So I just tell her that, babe, can you give me till tomorrow morning? I'll make this up to you tomorrow morning. Some days, can you give me 1 hour? Some days, truthfully, the mere fact that she wants itself just enough stimulation for my brain to want to give it back. So, but if I can't, some days I'm saying, I can't, though. Can I be the... No, that this is our private matter, don't worry. So some days she does all the work. I tell her, will you be willing to do all the work while I just stay there and be available? Since I can't do the other part. And if she's willing, she'll say yes. If she's not, she'll say no. And I won't be angry. I'll make it up for her too at another time. Because talk about it. If she's not, she's doing something I don't like. I don't like this one. Or she's somewhere and you'll be asking, are you okay? Don't just ask somebody to hang leg for hours. I mean, she's not a gymnast student. Even if she was, man, come on. So those conversations needs to be had. There's so much more to talk about it. But let's just take away that you have to have communication going.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the way they paint it in the movies. Yes, some days they are going to be high passion. And some days the passion might not be high, but the commitment needs to stay high. The readiness to do it needs to stay high. The person that you are mentally committed to do it needs to stay high. And guys, again, it's not every day your body will feel like it. It's not every day your body will feel like it, but still you have to have sex. Marriage makes it very weird. You just have to always do it. Feel like or not feel like you're doing. Some people have schedules for sex, but we don't have schedules. We just talk. If it's today, is this night though? We clear schedule. We don't have kids now, so we don't have a schedule. We just get to do it. But he has a lot of communication. It's nothing like the way people paint it. If you have questions or you have things you want to share, if it's true for you, you can also share. Remember, this is our model that works for us. We talk about it.
Okay.
We talk about it.
Something.
Yeah? Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Another thing is being sensitive. Yes. Being sensitive when you're with your partner. I am not the very expressive one. He's the expressive one. Yeah. So he gets to want something and just say how he wants it. Why me? I just use my body, or I just somehow. And sometimes he gets it, and sometimes he doesn't. Okay. So I think sensitivity is also important here. Sometimes he doesn't even say, but I reach out and it works. Like it just, So you have to be sensitive. You have to be paying attention.
Read the mood.
Read the mood. And go from there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just episode 1 of sex is a lot. There's a spiritual angle, there's a mental angle. But the first thing is that sex is not like the way it is in the movie.
Yeah.
It's really a lot of work. Yeah. If you're not prepared for it, it might drown you. You might get tired. You might feel overwhelmed. What is this? I'm not in the mood.
Bored.
But you might have to change that to knowing that this is a communication thing. You don't have to do the same thing all the time. You can talk about it. You can be slow, fast, whatever works for you at the time. But if you do it the way you communicate, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be.
At least on today's one. We'll talk about the rest another time. Bye.
Bye.